colleges of education to universities, the poor infrastructure of Nigeria's public higher institutions has remained a concern over the years. In this report, TheCable embarked on a journey across higher institutions, and what we found leaves much to be desired, with no sign of improvement in sight. The eyesore features overcrowded lecture halls, poorly maintained infrastructure, and abandoned projects. Welcome to the dilapidated educational system that produces thousands of Nigerian graduates yearly. TheCable uncovers. Image is everything, and many Nigerian universities invest in their brand so as to be perceived as great institutions of learning. But what the public doesn't know is the extent of the systemic mismanagement of these institutions. Take the University of Calabar, for instance. On its YouTube channel, you have a gorgeous tour of the university, but in reality, some students in the Faculty of Education receive their lectures under the stairs and out in the open. Another example is the Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike. Its YouTube channel showcases a well-run institution, but when TheCable toured the campus, we discovered that a number of lecturers struggle with large crowds of students due to public address systems that are not working. At the Achebe Hall in the same university, ceilings are falling apart and dangerous electrical wires are hanging out of place. Overcrowded classes are a norm, but the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, takes it up a notch with a large number of students receiving lectures at its incomplete Akano Ibiam Stadium with no public address system for the lecturer. The School of General Studies at the same university is in a filthy situation as the lecture halls have not been cleaned for a significant period of time, yet lectures continue to hold in them. The electronic whiteboards no longer function, and early signs of dilapidation show.
The environment has been like this for the close up to 1 month now. So the cleaners are not paid and everywhere is dirty. They are not sweeping our environment again. And the thing is that we are still studying under this environment like this. That's the worst thing.
We stumbled upon a dark and overcrowded classroom, and it was raining ceiling boards across the campus. Speaking of raining ceilings, the University of Ilorin has the same issue. We spotted a stone used as a wedge for a writing board in a lecture hall. Some lecture hall furniture in the same university have begun to rot, with missing seats cited. The University of Jos also has the issue of broken and missing seats. Imo State University is full of surprises. TheCable saw students exiting an incomplete building used as an exam hall. This is a lecture hall in its College of Medicine and Health Sciences flooded with water and refuse. At its Department of Theatre Arts, a pillar holding its practical theatre is hanging by a thread. The mismanagement is so glaring as you move around the department, and it is far from being a serene environment for learning. An almost empty library is what we met at the Benue State University, Makurdi. As we moved through shelves, we found few books that were mostly outdated. Some lecture halls have also begun to suffer damages, but the most prevalent are broken and missing louvers. Enugu State University of Technology also faces the same plight, but its overcrowded halls are worse. The Federal University of Technology, Owerri, is also overcrowded, that students even sit on window frames to receive lectures. Brace up as we explore the student life across several Nigerian higher institutions. Let us start with the images of serene student life showcased on Michael Okpara University of Agriculture's YouTube channel. In reality, it is not a very glamorous sight, as refuse line the pathways. The hostels at the Federal Polytechnic at Ado-Ekiti are overcrowded, and students sleep and cook within the same tiny rooms. The girls' hostel at the University of Abuja is also overcrowded. The toilets and bathrooms at the boys' hostel in Gombe State University are an eyesore. The hostels are perpetually in a stench. The toilets in the boys' hostel at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, are in a poor condition. And so are the toilets in the boys' hostel at Modibo Adama University of Technology, Yola. The toilets at the Faculty of Arts in the University of Benin have been abandoned for months, and the hostels at Unical leave much to be desired. The hostels at the Benue State University are worn out, with abandoned refuse being housed in them. The facilities are obviously neglected. We discovered a room used for open defecation at the male hostel in Enugu State University of Technology. Clogged up bathrooms are left to rot at the Boso campus in Fut, Mina. In Hostel A at Futo, students drop paper being used to clean up after toileting on the demarcating walls. Water is also a major issue affecting sanitation at Nigeria's higher institutions. Toilets are clogged and abandoned due to poor access to water. In Futo, students have to rigorously get water out of water pumps, and this rusted tank houses water at Alvan Ikoku Hall, UNN. At UNN, students often defecate openly in this bush popularly called airport. Refuse is not properly disposed, and cleanliness has taken the backseat. There are even overgrown bushes inside the hostels at Esut. As TheCable reporters moved around campuses, we discovered an alarming number of unfinished and abandoned TET fund and locally sponsored projects. IMSU is the biggest culprit, from an abandoned toilet project to an abandoned building now being used as toilet. We even discovered that an unfinished library building is now being used as both a refuse dump and lecture hall. Students seem to be accustomed to the rot. Still at IMSU, you have the unfinished Faculty of Education building and an abandoned building project at the Faculty of Science. Futo, on the other hand, is home to the abandoned Faculty of Science Complex project and an unfinished food pilot plant building. Michael Okpara University has an abandoned College of Education building project. We saw an incomplete building being used as lecture hall. In the same university, there are a number of abandoned shuttle buses, an issue similarly identified at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. At the University of Port Harcourt, the new SIP building commissioned by the President in 2019 is now falling apart. The poor maintenance of the building is glaring, and this has led to a flooding problem in some of the lecture halls. Education is power, but poor education is stolen power. If students are not learning or being taught in the most efficient and serene environment, if facilities are being run to the ground as we have seen so far, then what hope is there for our educational system? If a system which churns out thousands of graduates yearly is so neglected, then it is obvious that the future has been neglected. Nigeria's educational system is broken. Who will fix it?